I used to have some really spirited but enjoyable conversations with people who had a totally different worldview to me. But in their own way, they were noble. They wanted to build a better way as they saw it. And I'm talking about, people from the serious left. As the left was then, it was about universalism. Let's lift the disadvantaged up so they're part of the family. And some of those people will say now their own movement, it's so distorted. It's now about creating an aristocracy of victims and then weaponising them. It's never about solving their problems, because if you solve their problems, they're not victims and you lost your weapon. And what a terrible thing to do to other people. And somehow we've got to rebuild that respect. And it's the same with something like private property. We should respect, the four freedoms: free speech, to my way of thinking, freedom of conscience and belief, freedom to associate, and freedom to own private property, including your intellectual prowess, You're using yours highly. In fact, it's yours. It's not for a government to come along and shut you down or take away your private property or whatever. It's yours to use wisely. Well, weaken any of those freedoms and you weaken them all. It's like a four-legged stool, You break one and the stool will fall over. But we don't talk like that anymore.
And Australia in particular has fallen victim to this, which I know, because when I was growing up, I saw these Aussie blokes as being these kind of ruggedly masculine, dare I say too masculine, right? Loving a punch up in a beer and whatever else. And now you've got Melbourne, which, is it the wokest place on earth, practically?
Well, there are regional differences in Australia. Yeah. I don't live in Melbourne, all right?
Yeah. The politicians come out.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's it.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, well, it is extraordinary. I was in America recently and I had a 2-hour interview with Patrick Bet-Davis in Miami, and he called the show Whatever Happened to the Australians. And I don't know how many Australians understand that, that we've got this image now around the world of the most severe lockdowns and you can only walk for an hour a day. Well, why not, an hour and 1 minute, and why not 5.5 kilometres away from home instead of 5 kilometres, and then, pregnant women being dragged away by police and what have you.
One Facebook post and this pregnant woman is now in deep trouble.
You're under arrest in relation to incitement.
Incitement?
What's that?
What on earth? Excuse me, what on earse?
Just put your phone down.
Can you
record
this? I'm in my pyjamas.
What's this?
I had an ultrasound in an hour.
Yeah, she's pregnant, so...
Take it easy.
What's this about?
I have an ultrasound
Just let me finish.
in an hour.
Let me finish and I'll explain. It's in relation to a Facebook post, in relation to a lockdown protest. That's why I'm arresting you, in relation to incitement.
How can you arrest her? That's...
In front of my 2 children.
She could face a jail sentence of up to 15 years.
But they voted for more of it. It's sort of Stockholm syndrome, The regime that put it in place has been subjected to an election and they won it again. Partly because the opposition didn't stand for enough, but partly because people... Who was the American forefather? I think it was Benjamin Franklin, that people who become afraid and go looking for security over freedom are worthy of neither. I think we've lost sight of how valuable freedom is, which is why I've enjoyed my conversations so much, Constantine, with you, as we've talked in the past, about your home environment. And you've written this marvellous book, which I really, you sent it to me and I really, it survived the British and Australian mail system. It arrived at home on my farm in northwest New South Wales and I read it. And I thought, isn't this terrific? Because you can see, as so often those who are sitting in the luxury spot when everything else seems comfortable, how our own slothfulness is placing at risk the very things that we enjoy.